There is enough in this world for man's needs, but not enough to fulfill
In fact,
man's greed. India is making a lot of initiatives, and the government is committed. From whatever we have been hearing, the Prime Minister taking climate change as one of the most important issues, that India is actually leading from the front. Why is it that we have to restrict the global warming to less than 1.5 degrees centigrade over the next 10 years? And what are the ways in which we can do it? That awareness and that understanding and the knowledge of how technology can help in all of this becomes very important. The government is constantly looking at the NITI Aayog is very committed to climate change, environmental friendly policies, creating policies that will enable all of this. And so anybody who is a startup or who is a climate preneur, he or she, the problem is a very complex problem, because we are trying to solve a problem that we have been neglecting to solve over the last so many years, or over the last century.
So, welcome, sir, on the Clampreneur Show. I'm extremely excited to have you here. There's a little backstory there. So, when we started Clampreneur, it was back in 2020 when I came back from London. And, during that time, I really used to follow your work. Like, I really used to see what you're doing, places you're going on Twitter. And at that time, I thought that maybe someday, we'll interact. And today, like 2 years down the line, we're doing this. So, yes, thank you for doing this. Thank you for being here. And thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you, Shweta, and it's indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to be on your show. And I know that you're doing some great work related to climate action, and that's a subject very dear to my heart too. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts today.
Thank you. So, considering the kind of experience you have had and the impact that make, I'm excited to be talking to you today about the role of education institutions, startup ecosystem, government, and policies towards enabling and supporting climate entrepreneurship, making a way towards India's inclusive transition towards net zero. So, my first question to start with would be, where do we stand as today as a nation in terms of, if I call it, say, climate entrepreneurship or climapreneurship, and what lies ahead of us?
So it's a very good question. In fact, India is making a lot of initiatives, and the government is committed. From whatever we have been hearing, the Prime Minister taking climate change as one of the most important issues, that India is actually leading from the front,
Hmm.
so to say. But of course, the problem is a very complex problem, because we are trying to solve a problem that we have been neglecting to solve
Hmm.
over the last so many years, or over the last century. And the indiscriminate growth of industrialization, it's important. Industrialization is important. Improving the quality of life for the human being is important, but an awareness of what the implications or the negative effects of industrialization are, and could be, was not there, or was neglected willfully or ignorantly, whatever be the case. But we are today in a situation where we need to act very fast. We need to act in a very short period of time, and we are, uh, if we don't do it within the next 10 to 15 years, it's going to be disastrous for the planet. More importantly, disastrous for the next generation, which we none of us want our next generation to suffer the
Hmm.
ill effects of neglect of what we could have avoided or we could have
Hmm.
changed at this point in time. So there is a tremendous urgency to the problem. The problem is complex. And while India has been making strides in building awareness about this, there is a lot that can be done in the years ahead, particularly because of three things that I would say. Number one, India as a country is one of the fastest growing economies of the world.
Yeah.
And when you're growing at this rate, the awareness of the opportunities for growth becomes more and more. But at this point in time, before you grow to the next level, if you are able to bring awareness of sustainability, of
Hmm.
climate change issues, of your solutions and innovations that you're doing to be aligned to what we need to do from a sustainable point of view and a planet
Hmm.
point of view, then that becomes even better. And we are 1.3 billion people.
Yeah.
So when you have a middle class economy which grows
Hmm.
and can double within the next 10 years, it is also imperative that we build this awareness and create solutions and create infrastructure and create processes and create policies that is going to help us build a healthy planet as we build a healthy economy.
Yep.
The second is, we are a very young nation,
Mm.
and in spite of one of the largest populations in the world for a country, 1.3 billion people, 65% of our country are under 35 years old.
Mm.
Now, my particular belief and conviction is that our young people are very aware and they are very capable and very intelligent. And therefore, if we harness the power of the youth
Yes.
to be the transformers for tomorrow, the
Mm.
agents of transformation of tomorrow,
Yes.
then this can become a reality. So
Mm.
we have this great opportunity of educating our youth and educating innovation and educating entrepreneurship
Mm.
in this area
Yep.
so that you can make a great impact.
Yep.
And the third aspect is, we are living in a world where technology is changing the very shape of the world in which we are
Mm.
living in. It's changing the way you are experiencing the world and the way the world is experiencing you. But more importantly, technology is becoming affordable,
Mm.
accessible, available, and advanced. And you are now able to imagine many, many solutions for problems that have existed before and have not been solved, or problems that have not been solved optimally. For
Mm.
example, transportation. Yes, it requires electronics, it requires gas and all that. But now you realize that with technology, you can have electric vehicles, you can have electric mobility. So
Mm.
you can completely transform the emissions which are happening
Mm.
from the cars or the vehicles or the buses or the trains and so on. You can eliminate fossil fuels, which are the great source of
Mm.
greenhouse gases. So technology is making possible the unimagined possibilities
Mm.
of the past, right?
Mm.
And now when these three converge, a fast growing economy, a demographic dividend which is the envy of many a country,
Mm.
a youthful population whose energy is tremendous, and we have
Technology.
affordable, accessible, available technology,
Mm.
we have all the ingredients to effect action
Mm.
for climate change
Yes.
more than we had ever before.
Mm. And how incredible is that? Like, how incredible that part is. I've always felt this one thing, that just imagine a situation where all of us coming together, doing things in our own diverse ways towards one common goal. For example, someone loves art, he can do something in art. Someone loves music, he can do something in music. Today, climate action is not limited to, labs or sciences, or say people, I would say teachers. Everyone can be a part of it. And that is the way we leverage technology to do these things, can, like, the potential can be immense. So also, on this note, I would like to ask you something. I read an article which said that, climate entrepreneurs need help to establish market linkages with the government as the large first buyer and corporates as large buyers. Moreover, there is a key requirement of policy and regulation to subsidize and incentivize green action, green growth, and green products. What would you say about this, and how can we build a positive and a strong partnership between government and climate entrepreneurs, where we both move hand in hand together?
So it's a very, very important point that you have observed, Shweta. Climate change issue cannot be solved by one particular group or one set of people trying to take action, where the
Yes.
rest of them are watching and saying that, this is
Mm.
your problem, this is not my problem. It is
Mm.
everyone's problem. And
Yes.
therefore, this is one of those areas where it is a multi stakeholder approach that is going to
Mm.
solve the problem. You need government, you need academia, you need universities who can do great research. You
Mm.
need the industry who will back it up with actions that they can take, because they are all businesses. And
Yes.
businesses now no longer should operate with the single profit line that they were pursuing up till now, which has been the cause of all the problem. Now, what they call as the triple bottom line, which is people, profit, and planet. It's
Planet.
not just the money or the profitability in terms of financial profitability that is so important to the business. If they are not taking care of the people in the planet, 7.3 billion people today is going to grow to 9 to 10 billion within the next 10 years. And
Yes.
if you are not mindful of the impacts of your business, your climate change neglect,
Mm.
if you continue to pursue business at the cost of emissions and environmental damage, then you're going to harm the people of the planet, and they're no longer going to have a planet to sustain. And then when you took up planet considerations, it is beyond people. It is how the seas are getting affected, how the land is getting affected, how water management is getting affected. We have 70 only 4% of the water in the world is drinking water,
Mm.
or drinkable water. and these come from the rivers, the streams, the lakes, the rain, and so on and so forth. And that water management is going down because of global warming and so on. So soil is getting affected. The
Yeah.
microbial atmosphere within the soil, which replenishes the soil and which allows organic growth, is getting depleted now. And this is again due to climate change and so on and so forth. So there are many issues related to climate change, and therefore it is very important that every one of us comes together. Now,
Yes.
I have been particularly encouraged by a few things, and I would like to share a few stories on this.
Mm.
First of all, the government has launched a series of initiatives for climate change, but more importantly, I think it has also launched a series of initiatives for harnessing the demographic dividend and empowering them with knowledge, tools, technologies to be able to create the solutions of tomorrow.
Mm.
Because what we need is not just the solutions of today be bettered in order to prevent climate crisis, but also the solutions of tomorrow that you are building using technologies like 3D printing, robotics, IoT or sensor technologies, augmented virtual reality, communication technologies like 5G technologies, or space satellite technologies, which enable you to get a great picture of the earth from outside, and
Mm.
the status of not only the earth but the surrounding atmosphere and so on.
Mm.
And with sensor technologies being embedded into man machine device, soil, space, air, and so on, you're getting a real feel and a real data on the effects of climate change, the growth in global warming. And this is no longer what you can say, a hypothesis. This is no
Mm.
longer somebody who is leaving it to your imagination. There are hard facts associated with that. So the government has launched many initiatives like the Atal Innovation Mission.
Mm.
And in the Atal Innovation Mission, for example, we have launched thousands of tinkering labs in
Mm.
schools across the country
Yeah.
so that our young students become problem solvers and innovators of the future,
Mm.
not just rote learners who will learn
Yes.
and not really absorb what this learning is all about. But more importantly, one very crucial initiative in this is to build awareness of sustainability and climate change in every student who is using a tinkering lab for creating the solutions of tomorrow.
Mm.
So every innovation, for example, has to have the element of sustainability,
Mm.
has to have the element of climate change awareness of this. Is this solution going to add to the problem, or is it going to minimize the problem?
Mm.
And are we going to find solutions which will eliminate the problem, right?
Mm.
So these are the things that the students have started becoming aware. So awareness, building awareness, is the very first thing in terms of climate change. Many people are not aware of what this is all about. Why is it that we have to restrict the global warming to less than 1.5 degrees centigrade over the next 10 years? And what are the ways in which we can do it? That awareness and that understanding and the knowledge of how technology can help in all of this
Mm.
becomes very important.
Mm.
The second part is for businesses, to offer, to be able to pursue a triple bottom line, to arrive at net zero and all of that. They need to be aware of best practices that are already being implemented and followed by many companies. Companies like Unilever, they have been talking about it. They have so many countless examples. You are capturing through your medium multiple stories of how individuals, organizations, civil organizations, as well as government are taking initiatives and success stories on implementing climate action on the ground. So
Mm.
that best practices need to be understood and followed or improved upon by businesses.
Mm.
The third is there has to be a strong commitment. This commitment has to come from the highest levels, from the government, from the businesses, from the CEOs of companies, from university deans, who are taking this commitment that we are going to build the awareness, we are going to take action. It is not just aspiration
Mm.
that we want to rid ourselves of this climate change problem and we are going to become net zero in the next 10 years or 20 years. That's a good aspiration to have, but do you have an action plan for that?
Yeah.
And do you have milestones for that? And are we capturing this progress in a very systematic manner, in a measured manner, so that we can see for ourselves the results and we can explain to the others, right?
Mm.
So there are many companies, for example, who are very conscious in saying or building that for each of these activities, if you leave the AC on, when it is not required, if you are turning the, you waste the water and so on. What exactly are the implications? You leave your PC on, you leave the printer on. We all like to, we have multiple devices when we don't need so many devices. All of these adds to the carbon effect. So building that awareness and building an action plan for that, that is very important. The commitment has to be followed by collaboration. So collaboration is inevitable. You cannot, I mean, that's why we have so many countries in the COP26, for example, countries coming together, the heads of states coming together and collaborating on this and agreeing, because each country has its own pressures and its own demand,
Yeah.
right? They want their country to prosper. And
Mm.
so, how do you stop fossil usage of fossil fuels or coal? How do you stop the coal mining industry?
Mm.
At the same time, how do you progress towards renewable energies, and better water management and better waste management and so on? All of these become issues. So there has to be an agreement between the countries that we are all going to in it together, and we're going to help each other in this
Yeah.
process. And therefore, collaboration between governments is required, collaboration between private sector is required. Now I know many companies, for example, they will give business to you if you are also pursuing a net zero philosophy.
Mm.
Otherwise they will not do business with you. So that sort of understanding promotes the growth of climate friendly policies and implementations. And then we are talking about entrepreneurship and innovation.
Mm.
Today we are world, India is a startup world, and it is a startup nation. We are among the largest, we are one of third largest startup ecosystem in the world. But more importantly, in the last 4 years or 5 years, we have risen from a global innovation index of 81 to a position of 46. Now that's an amazing growth.
Mm.
But I personally believe that we in India, because of the focus on education that we have had, 1.4 million schools, 10,500 engineering institutions, 39,000 colleges, and 150 million young students entering into the workplace, and we have the need for innovation and the need for entrepreneurship. So we need climatepreneur, or climapreneur, whatever is the word that you use.
Mm.
We need people who are going to become entrepreneurial and who are going to create entrepreneurial solutions, keeping climate change in mind,
Yes.
and reiterating and re-emphasizing that a solution which does not promote climate friendly or sustainable solutions is not a solution to be pursued.
Mm.
So that is a great opportunity now for our youngsters in our schools. So we have set up, for example, 10,000 tinkering labs. More than 4 million students who are between grade 6 to grade 12 are getting educated in all of this, are
Mm.
actually having hands-on experience, are going to villages, to neighboring cities, from the mall to the hospital, from the hospital to the home, from the home to the school, and they see these are all the problems that are existing. So how do I become a problem solver for this?
Mm.
And for that I need to create eco-friendly solutions and eco-friendly innovations.
Mm.
And now we have more than 500 800 incubators in our country,
Yeah.
fostering more than 55,000 startups. So
Mm.
that's an amazing number to have. And therefore this program that you are running of building awareness and success stories of how you can take real action on the ground
Mm.
for climate change becomes a very important story to share with the rest of the people who are the startups and the new job
Mm.
creators.
No, definitely, and thank you for your kind words. This was actually the aim, because this was one thing which I figured out. Because youth has like they have that inspiration. Okay, I want to do something, but where to start? What is the roadmap? What challenges will you face on the road? So we need to understand that. Also, like I feel this thing that climate action gives us an amazing opportunity to unite. I don't know, like some people call me crazy for saying that, but I feel that climate action is here to unite us, be it on an individual level, be it on a nationwide level, or be it on a world level. It's that amazing opportunity which unites us all towards one common goal. You
Absolutely,
know, yeah.
because this is regarding life. This is regarding
Yes.
human life. This is regarding the planet. It is not related to ideologies. It is not related to political
Mm.
affiliations. It is not related to money or business. These are all. The great Mahatma Gandhi said, "There is enough in this world for man's needs, but not enough to fulfill man's greed." And I think climate change has been a result of pursuing your greed rather than fulfilling the human needs. And now we have come to a juncture where if we don't pay attention to the planet's need, to the people's need, to the human need, then you will not have any planet to exist. And so what is the use of all the money that you're making or the wealth that you're creating? So it's very, very important for people to understand this, to internalize it, to create a roadmap and create an action plan and pursue it. And as the great saying goes, every brick goes to make a big house, right? So also every step that anyone takes at an individual level, for example, students at a school level, they can start. If you build awareness, I know that many people are now not buying non climate friendly products,
Yeah.
or air conditioners which are the ozone content
Mm.
is not as per the standards, and so on. And then because of the collaboration of various countries, now specifications are coming, like lead specifications and environmental specification, and ESG is now becoming popular,
Yeah.
governance from an environmental sustainability point of view.
Mm.
Are you running your company, are you running your business, or you're running your organization from an ESG governance point of view?
Mm.
So these are all happening, and I hope they will accelerate. But acceleration requires, like I said, awareness, and your
Awareness.
organization is building that awareness amongst people and among businesses, and that is so very important.
Thank you once again. Also, now I would like to ask you this one question because I have been speaking to, like, I have always been in touch with some of my old teachers, and like I keep talking to them. So one thing which I want to ask you here is that do you think that incentivizing different stakeholders in education institutions, especially schools, starting from say primary teachers to secondary teachers or even managerial staff, can help us reach our net zero goals as a nation? Because I'll give you my personal observation. What I have observed is that these teachers sometimes they're just so motivated, they want to do things, but you know maybe they're just so much tied into that ecosystem where then there is sometimes a limited potential for growth as for them as an individual towards these areas. So do you think that we could incentivize these areas so it could have it could even motivate them towards this?
Yeah, I think one has to incentivize, but I don't think it is financial incentivization, because incentivization can take many forms. The best form of
Yeah.
incentivization is knowledge. When you become aware that
Hmm.
if you are not taking immediate action, and if you are not taking action at an individual level on this aspect, it's going to cascade into a huge tsunami of you know disaster and destruction for the planet.
Yeah.
And you can play a role, and you can play a contributory role, and like a teacher, when he or she is teaching 50 students in every class, and they're teaching thousands and thousands of students, what a powerful role they can play in bringing and building that awareness and leading by example. They have to lead by example. You cannot talk about it and not practice it. That's
Yeah.
another problem that we have. You have a lot of people who are preachers but not practitioners.
But not
you know
practitioners.
and you have to be a practitioner as well as a preacher. And I think incentivizing schools, who are making it part of your curriculum, it should become part of your curriculum. Sustainable development goals, climate change should now become part of the curriculum of every school, every university.
Hmm.
There should be research focus and incentivization on research by the government as well as by the private sector, ways of reducing the carbon content, ways of implementing net zero with and today with software and technology, you are able to measure very easily. A company can measure the net carbon emission that they are responsible for, and what are the steps they can take to neutralize it,
Yeah.
either in participating in forest,
Hmm.
growing the forest, for example. There are organizations like Buzz on Earth, which do
Hmm.
that, focus on forest creation and trees plantation and so on. There are so many initiatives going on in the civil society for all of this. So you can partake in that and thereby increase your contributions and reduce the carbon, or achieve net zero status. But you have to go a little more than that also, I feel. You have to build, all your products and services should be aligned to reducing less and less carbon emissions and increasing the environmental positive impacts that we can create.
And I feel it also stems from like not just making climate change a topic to be studied in textbooks or a topic where you just write about in exams, but from art to sports to even say school canteen. Like this is even I have seen, so like I was invited to be a judge as one of the competitions of one Mahotsav that was happening. And what happened there was quite surprising to me. Like we are talking about one Mahotsav, and we are talking about designing a poster on a fresh sheet of art file sheet. So are we really standing to our core values? Because like for me, like this didn't add up, and like I thought that why not just make it a part of a value system, not just an event that happens once around the year or just one page in the textbook.
I totally agree with that. You see, there are many ways of encouraging this, particularly with students. Take for example, uh, not no consumption of plastic. Plastic consumption, replace it with organic containers
Yep.
or baskets and so on and so forth. It's very easy to and encourage organizations which are creating. There are many startups that I know who are
Mm.
creating very innovative solutions as a replacement for plastic. So
Yes.
start using that.
Mm.
If you go to the government e-marketplace, GEM marketplace, in schools, for example, can look into GEM and search for solutions which are environmental friendly.
Mm.
For any solution, instead of plastic, how do you have bags which can be eco-friendly and so on and so forth. So you have now a whole lot of eco-friendly products coming out from our startups,
Mm.
and those startups will feel encouraged. They'll get incentivized. They'll see, oh, our products are selling more.
Yes.
So you're actually increasing the economy, as well as you are restricting the harm to the environment. So
Mm.
this needs to be encouraged. In many schools now, or in many corporates, they actually measure the amount of food that is wasted every day,
Mm.
right? Now there are two parts. One, you become aware, like people put more food than is necessary on their plate, and then they just discard it. There are two effects of it. One, you have cooked more, and therefore you have raised greenhouse gases and emission and whatever stuff, right? As a result of that. Second, you're wasting this food, which there are many people who are not having, even a regular meal. We have in India 22% below the poverty line.
Mm.
We have 44% agri economy based economy, but still there are people 22% below the poverty line. Now that's a sad thing for a country to have. So that means enormous food is getting wasted somehow because of lack of attention, or storage systems, or transportation systems, and so on. So
Mm.
you can start optimizing on all of this.
Mm.
And we have 715 districts, out of which 115 are called aspirational districts, which are at the bottom of the pyramid
Mm.
in basic access to healthcare, education, clean drinking water, sanitation, waste management. We generate enormous amounts of waste, and we don't manage this organic,
Mm.
inorganic waste, and we are creating more and more inorganic waste.
Mm.
All of this is adding to the climate change problem. So if you build the linkages for everybody and say how this is linked to climate change, how this is linked to
Mm.
climate change, people will become very aware, conscious, and they'll become very discerning, and start discriminating between what they should be using or
Mm.
how they should be using it, versus what they should not be using.
The challenges you just mentioned right now, be it for the waste or storage systems, I feel that these really are opportunities for us to act. So do you think that climate entrepreneurship or climatepreneurship can really help us towards unemployment? Like we face huge unemployment issues, so can this actually tackle that?
Absolutely. In my mind, you have a great opportunity, a golden opportunity today to become the climapreneurs, or the climate entrepreneurs, right?
Entrepreneurs, yeah.
What do I mean by an entrepreneur who is a climapreneur?
Mm.
He or she is an innovator with a solution that is climate friendly, eco friendly, and is creating a sustainable solution for the
Mm.
future. This is going to become the need of the future.
Mm.
People are going to buy products which are climate friendly, and which are eco friendly, and which are environmental friendly.
Mm.
So you are going to not only become wealthy because people are going to buy more and more of your product and service, but you're going to be the only survivors in town. So
Mm.
I would strongly encourage any innovator or any startup that is listening to this program, make your solution eco-friendly, climate friendly, environmental friendly, planet friendly, and your bottom line is automatically assured. You will you are benefiting the people, you are benefiting the planet, and you are benefiting your own financial profitability. There cannot be a situation where you are eco-friendly and therefore you are going down in your profits. That's If I take 10 years down the road, you may start off with lesser profits than what somebody is making who is not eco-friendly right now, but 10 years down the road nobody is going to buy that product, they're going to buy your product.
So just be at it, like I know so many people out there, so like the kind of challenges they're going towards, and I genuinely salute them for being so resilient. And coming this from you, I just want to say that, so guys, just be at it, and the future is yours. And I feel,
Absolutely.
like one thing, because all of them have created something incredibly beautiful, and their why is just so amazing. Like, they are so personalized whys of why they're doing what. On this
Right.
note, I would also like to ask you this, that can startups, or say can climate entrepreneurs specifically, foster partnerships with government, or say NITI Aayog? And also one thing which I have always heard is, okay, you really need to be big for that kind of partnership. So is it just for bigger startups and bigger organizations?
No, now, for example, there are, first of all, yes, you can connect. The government is constantly looking at the NITI Aayog is very committed to climate change, environmental
Mm,
friendly policies, creating policies that will enable all of this. And so,
mm,
anybody who is a startup or who is a climate preneur, he or she has the ability to connect with and become part of the larger ecosystem that the government is creating.
mm,
Secondly, whether you are small or big, of course big players automatically, they can come and share what they would like to do, how they would like to fund initiatives, how they would like to partner with the government, and the government is very much open, and NITI Aayog is a place, beehive of activity there, which can help organizations or help even NGO organizations to be able to further their cause.
mm,
But small startups can attach themselves to many incubators in our country, and I'll be happy to connect them, whoever is wanting to be connected. There are now 800 plus incubators in the country. There are both government incubators and private incubators. And many of the incubators are focused on only social innovation and social
mm,
entrepreneurship.
yeah.
And they are not necessarily commercially driven entrepreneurs. We are also having what are known as Atal Community Innovation Centers,
Mm,
which are now growing in across the country. We have 19 of them right now.
mm,
But the idea of a community innovation center is, how do you create solutions that local community needs?
mm,
For example, if you're in Sikkim, how do you support the horticultural community? How do you support water management in the hilly area, electricity management, and so on? And those innovations will help. Or how do you support farming in those areas using precision agriculture and IoT technologies and so on?
mm,
And at the same time, how do you make these solutions climate friendly and environmental friendly? Organic farming, for example, is now becoming more and more popular. So these are all areas where we can latch on to some incubator which is supporting these initiatives,
mm,
and thereby you will also get access not only to the research and technology, but also to the to the venture capital network that is associated with that particular institution. And
mm,
in the Atal Innovation Mission, what we have tried to create is a pool of resources like venture capitalists and HR and IT experts and financial experts and so on, which can be shared with everybody. We have got
mm,
almost about 108 specialized mentors who are looking at how they can, and they're in various verticals,
mm,
legal, IP, financial, technology, and so on. So they can help in supporting these startups and connecting them to other players in the network. So it's very much possible, and they should do it. That's what I said. Collaboration is the key.
yeah.
So you connect yourself to the nearest incubator, and through that incubator, you can connect yourself to others if that particular incubator is not able to help you.
Incredible. Also, like before this talk, I actually spoke to a few climate entrepreneurs and I asked them that what is the hardest part of their journey, or what is the hardest part of being a climapreneur. And I got few answers from them. So let's try if you could answer some of these questions for them.
Sure.
So here we go. I'm exactly like quoting their words. Hardest part is to convince people to use natural products, as it's time consuming sometimes, and everyone is used to westernized fast life, and people want quick results, which is not possible in natural products.
Yeah. So I think it's a very, very valid observation by many startups. this can only happen through building greater awareness and through
Hmm.
working with organizations. So my suggestion is you work with organizations who are committed themselves to this. So they will encourage not only you in terms of funding or giving access to the market. You should also approach the government for pushing your products and services in, like I said, GEM, for example,
Hmm.
would encourage sustainable solutions and climate friendly solutions and so on. But at the same time, you have to start working with organizations who are making sure that their employees are also pursuing policies that the private sector is laying out in terms of its own operations, for them to be able to come to net zero status. The second is, I think, when you say I have got a climate friendly product,
Hmm.
also put some you know in your fact sheet that by using this product, this is the carbon credits that you can get, right?
Hmm.
So if you don't have that data, then people don't know what exactly is going to be the outcome. But if you say 1,000 units of my product is going to bring you so much carbon credit, you're going to have more organizations buying it, and you're going to have
Hmm.
more people also buying it, because they say, compared to, you put comparative data. It's very important
Yes.
for you to put comparative data. You have product A, B, C in the market. My product is product C. This is the
Hmm.
carbon credits you get. This is
Hmm.
the net emission you decrease. And so you have to be able to understand the triple bottom line representation and try to represent that. It's awareness, it's understanding, but people are getting it. They're becoming conscious. It's being talked about everywhere. So I'm sure people will quickly start buying those products.
Yes, that's the hope. The next would be it's the question where people state what difference can you make alone while everyone is enjoying a non sustainable lifestyle.
Well, this is the classic excuse many of us can give for anything in the world, right?
Hmm.
What difference am I making to the rest of the world? I am one of 7.3 billion people, right? But then you have to start off somewhere. You have to feel, who are you trying to address? You're trying to address your own conscience. You're
Hmm.
trying to make an impact on the world. You are trying to leave your own little footprint on the sands of time and sands of history, and every little footprint like this is what is going to make that little drops of water, little grains of sand, make the mighty ocean and the pleasant land, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that everyone has to have an inner conviction
Hmm.
that we have to practice it. Our children, I mean, just imagine, actually a beautiful example was given that in one of the TED talks or podcasts I heard, where the person says the urgency of climate change. What is the urgency for it? Say, supposing your child is crossing the road
Hmm.
and you see a bus coming towards it,
Hmm.
right? At that point in time, do you think, it is a bus fault? Why is it speeding at this? Why no one has stopped it, etc., etc.? What is the origin? You don't think of all that. You just dash across the road and you try to save the child
Hmm.
and move it outside harm's way, right? That's the action that is required today. If,
Hmm.
don't think about what the others are doing, what is the west doing, what is the east doing, right? The urgency is real.
Hmm.
It's the climate change bus is hurtling towards us,
Hmm.
right? And if we are not taking immediate action, that bus is going to not only hit you but all the others in the path,
Hmm.
right? And we have to do our little things of moving out of harm's way. So
Hmm.
I think that's the message that I would give to everybody.
And the last one would be it's balancing the user experience, efficiency of the product, resource use, and creating a sustainable business around it. People are used to a certain comfort of various things in life, and changing the behavior without hampering the comfort of modern lifestyle is challenging. And after all the other parameters are fulfilled, making our product affordable while creating sustainable business is a challenge.
That's where innovation comes in. I mean, that's where technology is coming in. All these problems that you mentioned are indeed true, but today you have an opportunity of creating solutions which are sustainable, which are profitable, which are eco-friendly, and which are climate friendly, leveraging technology. So you have to understand how you can leverage all of this, and then of course your ability to communicate why your solution is better than all the others.
Hmm.
That because of digital media, social media, digital communication, you have various platforms that can broadcast your uniqueness and
Hmm.
your value proposition of your product or service. I think you have to leverage all of that, and that is why I say innovation and entrepreneurship are the ones. When you talk of entrepreneurship and innovation, it is not just technology innovation, it is behavioral innovation. Now, how do you change behaviors? How do you do the right messaging? How do you influence positive action on this? These There is a psychological component, there is a technology component, there is a social component, and there is a business component. All of these have to get integrated, and it's possible. There are companies which are doing it. I know extraordinarily success. I mean, take solar energy for example, right?
Yeah.
Renewable energy. This was not
Hmm.
a very profitable business several years ago, but today everybody is adopting it because that's the need of the hour. Electric mobility has become possible. 10
Hmm.
years ago, who thought that electric vehicles will start dominating?
Hmm.
And you have a Tesla, a company which went completely, laterally. Nobody was producing electric vehicles, or whoever was producing was not producing it efficiently. And today you have the most, they command the stock market. They're one of the most profitable company in terms of electrical vehicles. So I do believe space technology, for example. Who thought of space travel, right? Precision agriculture. Israel is creating food and exporting from the desert because of precision agriculture.
Hmm.
So you have technology which is enabling all of this and making companies very profitable. So I am sure if you delve a little deeper into the subject or connect with experts on that, you will be able to create solutions that the world needs.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure that's going to help a lot of people out there. And genuine, like, thank you for your time and thank you for what you have done to empower so many people around the globe.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you, and I'm reachable. You can share my coordinates with anybody who would like to reach me, and more than happy to dedicate time, effort, and my learnings to this cause.
Sure. Thank you so much.